one of the earliest large predators ever discovered. This is Cryolophosaurus, a carnivore that lived in Antarctica when it wasn't frozen solid. Back then, the continent was covered in forests, cold but alive. Cryolophosaurus wasn't built for speed alone. Its body was balanced, its jaws powerful, and its skull carried a strange crest that likely helped with display or recognition. This predator hunted early herbivorous dinosaurs in harsh seasonal environments. Long periods of darkness, limited food, extreme conditions. Survival required efficiency. Every hunt mattered. Every injury carried risk. Cryolophosaurus thrived because it could endure cold that killed others. But endurance only works when ecosystems remain predictable. As climates shifted and Antarctica drifted farther south, seasons grew harsher. Food chains thinned. Prey disappeared. The predator that conquered the cold vanished when the cold became unlivable. One of the largest land carnivores to ever exist. This is Arctodus, a short-faced bear, standing taller than any modern bear. Built for speed, not just strength. Long legs, massive shoulders, and a bite capable of ending fights instantly. Arctodus didn't need to hunt often. Its presence alone drove predators away from kills. Wolves retreated, cats backed off. It ruled through intimidation. But intimidation requires abundance. Plenty of carcasses, plenty of prey. When Ice Age megafauna vanished, fear lost its power. Competition increased, food declined. The bear that ruled by dominance disappeared when dominance could no longer secure meals. One of the most successful amphibian predators ever to exist. This is Metoposaurus, a massive flat-headed ambush hunter. It waited motionless in shallow water, eyes above the surface, jaws ready. Anything that stepped too close was dragged under. Fish, early reptiles, even careless land animals. Metoposaurus thrived during wet periods. Swamps were everywhere, waterways were stable, ambush was easy. But amphibians are tied to water more than any other predators. When climates dried and wetlands vanished, Metoposaurus lost everything. No water meant no ambush. No ambush meant no food. The predator that ruled swamps disappeared when the swamps dried first. One of the most unsettling predators ever created by evolution. This is Edestus, a prehistoric shark with curved rows of teeth that protruded from its jaws. Unlike modern sharks, its teeth didn't fall out, they grew forward, forming a permanent cutting arc. Edestus didn't bite like other predators. It slashed, closed its jaws like scissors, slicing prey in half with mechanical precision. This design worked in stable seas filled with soft-bodied prey. But the ocean didn't stay soft. Armor evolved, shells thickened, prey grew tougher. Edestus couldn't replace damaged teeth. Every broken edge was permanent. The shark with the most terrifying weapon disappeared when the ocean demanded flexibility instead of blades. One of the strangest sauropods ever found. This is Jobaria, a massive plant eater with a thick, muscular neck, shorter than other sauropods, but far more powerful. Jobaria didn't rely on extreme height. It fed on dense vegetation close to the ground, consuming enormous quantities every day. This strategy worked in lush environments, where plants regenerated quickly, where food was predictable. Jobaria's size protected it from predators. Few hunters dared approach, but size locks you into dependence. When climates dried and vegetation thinned, Jobaria's feeding strategy failed. Low-growing plants disappeared first. Migration became harder. The giant that survived by eating everything close vanished when close no longer existed.
one of the most disturbing predators ever discovered. This is Majungasaurus, a medium-sized theropod from Madagascar. Short skull, powerful jaws, built for close combat. But what makes Majungasaurus infamous isn't just how it hunted, it ate its own kind. Bite marks on fossil bones prove it. This predator didn't hesitate to kill rivals or scavenge fallen members of its species. In harsh environments, food was limited, competition was constant. Cannibalism wasn't a choice, it was survival. But ecosystems built on desperation are fragile. When prey declined further, even cannibalism wasn't enough. The king that consumed its own disappeared when nothing was left to consume. One of the earliest sharks to ever exist. This is Cladocelache, sleek, fast, and lightly built. It had no claspers, no heavy armor, just speed and precision. Cladocelache hunted soft-bodied prey, fish, cephalopods, anything it could catch quickly. It didn't crush, it didn't tear, it grabbed and swallowed. This worked in early oceans, filled with vulnerable prey. But predators evolved. Prey developed defenses, armor, spines, hard shells. Cladocelache couldn't adapt fast enough. The shark that mastered speed disappeared when speed alone stopped being enough. One of the most aggressive hunters of the Jurassic. This is Ceratosaurus, shorter than Allosaurus, lighter, but far more vicious at close range. Its teeth were long and curved, built to slash, not overpower. A horn sat on its snout, not for decoration, but for ramming, for close combat, for chaos. Ceratosaurus didn't hunt like other predators. It attacked injured prey, stole kills, fought rivals head-on. Scars on fossil bones show it survived brutal encounters. This predator thrived in unstable ecosystems, where competition was constant. But aggression alone isn't enough. When larger, more efficient hunters took over, Ceratosaurus was pushed aside. The predator that survived by fighting dirty disappeared when dominance required efficiency, not ferocity.
One of the most powerful predators Asia ever produced. This is Tarbosaurus, a close relative of Tyrannosaurus, but leaner, more efficient, built for dominance across vast floodplains. Its skull was narrower, its bite focused on precision rather than raw crushing power. Tarbosaurus hunted hadrosaurs and ceratopsians. Fast prey, alert prey, it relied on ambush, positioning and timing. Every hunt required calculation. For millions of years, this balance worked. But precision hunters depend on stable ecosystems. When prey diversity declined, mistakes became costly. One failed hunt meant energy lost. One injury meant death. As climates shifted and food chains broke, efficiency wasn't enough. The eastern tyrant vanished when the margin for error disappeared. One of the most overlooked predators of the Triassic. This is Hesperorhynchus, small, fast, and deadly. It hunted at night, in shadows, avoiding larger predators, preying on insects, small reptiles, early dinosaurs. Speed and agility kept it alive. But the Triassic world was violent. Mass extinctions reshaped ecosystems repeatedly. Small predators rely on stability, on hiding places, on food webs that don't collapse overnight. When environments shifted rapidly, specialists disappeared. Hesperorhynchus didn't lose to a rival. It vanished when the shadows it depended on were erased.
one of the largest land mammals to ever exist. This is Megatherium, a giant ground sloth taller than most elephants when standing upright. Its claws were enormous, not for hunting, for defense. When threatened, Megatherium reared up, using its tail as a tripod, turning its claws into lethal weapons. Few predators dared approach it, but Megatherium relied on forests, dense vegetation, slow movement. As climates dried and humans expanded, forests vanished. Food declined. Pressure increased. The giant sloth didn't lose its strength. It lost the environment that allowed strength to matter.
One of the strangest flying animals ever discovered. This is Hatzegopteryx, a pterosaur as tall as a giraffe, with a skull nearly 6 feet long. It didn't hunt like other flying animals. It walked, stalked prey on land, using its massive beak to strike downward. Small dinosaurs were vulnerable. Nothing its size challenged it. But flight at that scale is fragile. It required open land, stable winds, reliable prey. When island ecosystems changed, resources vanished quickly. The land-stalking pterosaur disappeared when the balance it depended on collapsed. One of the largest carnivorous dinosaurs ever discovered. This is Carcharodontosaurus. Its name means shark-toothed lizard, and the name fits. Long razor-edged teeth, built to slice flesh, not crush bone. Every bite caused massive blood loss. This predator didn't finish fights quickly. It let prey weaken, bleed, collapse. Carcharodontosaurus hunted enormous herbivores. Dinosaurs so large that killing them required patience. But slicing teeth come with a weakness. They dull, they break, and they require constant success. When prey numbers declined, wounds weren't enough. One failed hunt meant starvation. The predator that relied on bleeding victims vanished when prey became scarce. One of the most terrifying birds to ever fly. This is Pelagornis, a wingspan wider than most small planes, and teeth, sharp, bony projections lining its beak. Pelagornis didn't hunt like modern birds. It soared endlessly over open oceans, scanning for prey, diving suddenly, snatching fish and squid from the surface. But flight at that scale is risky. Pelagornis relied on wind, on stable weather patterns, on endless open seas. As climates shifted, wind systems changed, food routes broke down, and takeoff became harder. The largest toothed bird to ever fly disappeared when the sky itself became unreliable.
One of the largest predatory fish ever discovered. This is Hyneria, a giant lobe-finned fish with massive jaws, built to ambush prey near shorelines. It lunged from water, dragged animals under, and crushed them instantly. Hyneria didn't just hunt fish. It attacked early land animals, anything careless near the water. But this strategy tied it to shallow environments. As ecosystems changed and shorelines shifted, its hunting grounds disappeared. The fish that bridged water and land vanished when neither world stayed stable.
one of the most complete giant dinosaurs ever found. This is Dreadnoughtus. Its name means fears nothing, and it earned it. Predators ignored it. Its size alone made attacks pointless. Every step crushed vegetation. Its body was built for absolute dominance. Dreadnoughtus grew quickly, reached massive size early in life, escaping predation almost immediately. But giants depend on constant growth, constant food, constant stability. When environments shifted and plant life declined, growth stopped. The dinosaur that feared nothing faced something it couldn't fight: scarcity. The fearless giant disappeared when abundance ended.
One of the earliest crocodile relatives ever discovered. This is Protosuchus, small, fast, and built for land. Unlike modern crocodiles, it didn't lurk in water. It ran, chased prey, hunted insects and small animals. This early design was successful, flexible, adaptable. But evolution pushed crocodilians toward water. Larger bodies, heavier armor, stronger bites. Protosuchus couldn't compete with what came next. The first true crocodile vanished as the crocodile formula evolved beyond it.
One of the most famous predators of the Ice Age. This is Smilodon, the saber-toothed cat. Massive forelimbs, a thick, powerful neck, and 2 fangs longer than a human hand. These teeth weren't built for chewing. They were precision weapons, designed to pierce soft tissue, to end fights instantly. Smilodon didn't chase prey for long distances. It ambushed, pinned victims with brute strength, and delivered a killing bite to the throat. But this design came with a flaw. Those massive teeth were fragile. One bad strike, one wrong angle, and they shattered. Smilodon depended on the large prey: mammoths, bison, giant sloths. When those animals vanished, the cat had no backup plan. Its weapons were too specialized, its hunting style too risky. The perfect killing machine disappeared when perfection stopped being useful. One of the strangest large predators of the Cretaceous. This is Suchomimus, a long, narrow snout, hundreds of needle-like teeth, built not for tearing dinosaurs apart, but for catching fish. Suchomimus spent much of its life near water, waiting, striking suddenly, dragging slippery prey from rivers and lakes. But it wasn't helpless on land. Its arms were strong, its claws were curved and sharp. It could defend itself, even hunt small dinosaurs when necessary. This flexibility allowed it to survive where specialists struggled. But flexibility has limits. Suchomimus still relied on water, on stable river systems. When climates shifted and waterways dried, its primary food source vanished. Fish disappeared first, then the predators that depended on them followed. Suchomimus didn't lose because it was weak. It vanished because the worlds it balanced between collapsed at the same time. One of the most aggressive bony fish to ever exist. This is Xiphactinus, longer than a car, built like a torpedo, and famous for swallowing prey whole. Fossils show smaller fish trapped inside its body, entirely intact. This predator didn't chew, it charged, opened its jaws, and consumed victims in a single motion. Speed was its weapon. But swallowing prey whole comes with risk. If prey struggled, if it lodged incorrectly, the hunt could turn fatal. As oceans changed and prey evolved, this strategy became dangerous. Faster prey escaped, larger prey fought back. Xiphactinus lived violently and disappeared violently. The fish that swallowed giants couldn't adapt when giants fought back. the largest raptor ever discovered. This is Utah raptor. Much larger than Velociraptor, heavier, stronger, built for violence. Each foot carried a massive sickle claw, designed to slash and hold prey in place. Utah raptor didn't rely on speed alone. It used coordination, pack tactics, controlled chaos, surrounding victims, attacking from multiple angles, bleeding prey until it collapsed. But pack hunting requires balance, stable numbers, reliable food. When ecosystems fractured, cooperation failed. Prey declined. Groups broke apart. The raptor that relied on teamwork couldn't survive alone. Utah raptor vanished when coordination stopped being an advantage. One of the strangest ocean predators ever found. This is Basilosaurus. Despite its name, it wasn't a lizard. It was an early whale, long, serpentine, and armed with sharp, interlocking teeth. Basilosaurus hunted sharks, fish, other marine mammals. It ruled warm, shallow seas, but it was trapped between worlds. Too primitive to dive deep like modern whales. Too large to hunt small prey efficiently. When oceans cooled and deep-diving whales evolved, Basilosaurus lost its niche. It couldn't compete, couldn't adapt. The whale that ruled early oceans vanished when evolution moved on without it. One of the most successful dinosaurs ever to exist. This is Edmontosaurus, not a predator, not armored, not fast, but everywhere. Massive herds, endless migration, teeth designed for grinding plants non-stop. Edmontosaurus didn't survive by fighting, it survived by numbers, by reproduction, by feeding entire ecosystems. Predators depended on it, tyrannosaurs hunted it, raptors stalked it. It was the fuel of the late Cretaceous. But when plants died, herds collapsed, and when Edmontosaurus vanished, predators followed. The dinosaur that fed giants disappeared first, and took an entire food chain with it.
The largest duck-billed dinosaur ever found. This is Shantungosaurus. Longer than a city bus, weighing over 15 tons, its mouth contained thousands of teeth, constantly replaced, grinding plants non-stop. It wasn't a fighter, it was a processor. Shantungosaurus survived by consuming enormous quantities of vegetation. Day after day, hour after hour, it fed predators, shaped landscapes, and supported entire ecosystems. But plant eaters sit at the foundation of food chains. When plants declined, everything above collapsed. Shantungosaurus disappeared first, and when it did, predators followed. The machine that fed the ecosystem vanished when the ecosystem broke. One of the largest predators to ever walk South America. This is Mapusaurus, similar in size to Giganotosaurus, long jaws, blade-like teeth, built to slice massive prey open. But what made Mapusaurus truly dangerous wasn't its size, it was cooperation. Fossil evidence suggests multiple individuals hunting together, not randomly, not chaotically, but strategically. Surrounding prey, attacking from multiple sides, bleeding giants until they collapsed. Mapusaurus hunted sauropods that outweighed it many times over. Alone, it wouldn't stand a chance. Together, it was unstoppable. But cooperation is fragile. It requires stable populations, predictable prey, and balanced ecosystems. When prey declined, group hunting failed. Numbers became a burden instead of an advantage. The giant that relied on teamwork vanished when teamwork stopped working. The largest flying animal in Earth's history. This is Quetzalcoatlus. As tall as a giraffe when standing, wings wider than a fighter jet. Built to launch using all four limbs, not flap endlessly. Quetzalcoatlus didn't fly often. It walked, stalked prey, then took off only when necessary. Flight at that scale required perfection. Stable winds, open land, reliable prey. When climates shifted, wind patterns changed. Takeoff became harder. Landing became riskier. The largest flying creature ever grounded itself into extinction. When the sky changed, flight was no longer an option.
The largest land mammal to ever live. This is Paraceratherium. Taller than a giraffe, heavier than an elephant, so massive that predators ignored it completely. It didn't need armor, didn't need weapons. Size was enough. Paraceratherium fed from treetops, consuming vast amounts of vegetation every day. But giants require stability. When climates dried and forests shrank, food disappeared. Migration became impossible. The largest mammal in history starved not from weakness, but from scale. When the world grew smaller, giants had nowhere to go. The apex predator before dinosaurs took over. This is Postosuchus, a massive reptile walking on two legs, long jaws, powerful limbs, built to dominate early ecosystems. Postosuchus hunted primitive dinosaurs, crushed competitors, and ruled the Triassic world. But evolution doesn't wait. Dinosaurs became faster, more efficient, better adapted. When ecosystems shifted, Postosuchus was outpaced. The predator that ruled before dinosaurs vanished when true dinosaurs rose. It wasn't defeated in battle, it was replaced.
One of the most dominant predators of early Cretaceous North America. This is Acrocanthosaurus, nearly as long as Tyrannosaurus, armed with thick, curved teeth designed for deep wounds. But its most striking feature was its back. Tall neural spines rose from its spine, forming a massive ridge of muscle. This predator was built for power, not speed, not endurance, sheer force. Acrocanthosaurus hunted gigantic herbivores, sauropods that outweighed it by several tons. It attacked with repeated bites, bleeding prey, weakening them over time, turning size into a disadvantage. For millions of years, this method worked, but it required stable ecosystems, predictable prey routes, and enormous food availability. As environments shifted, sauropods declined. Large prey became rare, and bleeding strategies stopped working. The butcher of the early Cretaceous vanished when giants stopped walking the land.
One of the strangest predators evolution ever created. This is Helicoprion, a shark with a spiral of teeth. Not replaceable, not flexible. A permanent circular blade embedded in its jaw. Prey was sliced inward, piece by piece. Once caught, escape was impossible. This design worked perfectly in stable oceans. Soft-bodied prey, consistent conditions. But the spiral couldn't adapt. As prey evolved shells and armor, Helicoprion struggled. Teeth couldn't be replaced. Damage was permanent. The predator with the most bizarre weapon disappeared when the ocean demanded flexibility instead of specialization.
One of the most iconic dinosaurs ever discovered. This is Stegosaurus, a slow-moving herbivore with a brain the size of a walnut. But intelligence wasn't its defense. Its body was covered in massive plates, used to regulate heat, intimidate predators, and signal strength. At the end of its tail were 4 spikes, each longer than a human arm. These weren't decorations. One swing could tear flesh, shatter bone, or rupture vital organs. Predators learned quickly. Stegosaurus didn't run. It turned, faced attackers head-on, and ended fights before they escalated. But defense doesn't feed you. When vegetation changed and food sources declined, spikes became useless. The dinosaur, built to survive, attacks disappeared when survival required adaptation, not intimidation.
Millions of years ago, the Arctic wasn't frozen. It was warm, wet, and bright with endless summer sunlight. Instead of polar bears, glaciers, and ice sheets, the North Pole was covered in towering redwoods, ferns taller than humans, and rivers where turtles and crocodile relatives thrived. Imagine standing at the top of the world and hearing frogs croaking in warm swamps, dragonflies buzzing between trees, and massive mammals crashing through thick undergrowth. The Arctic was not a wasteland. It was an Eden, a rainforest lit by 24-hour daylight during summer and wrapped in long twilight during winter. But here's the haunting twist. Many animals living there had no adaptations for darkness, meaning ancient Arctic winters weren't fully dark. The sky glowed with enough light for forests to thrive. Then climate shifted. Temperatures plummeted. Forests died. Ice swallowed the land inch by inch. Creatures migrated south or vanished entirely. The first sign wouldn't be footsteps. It would be silence. Birds would vanish. Dogs would tuck their tails. Even rats would flee the alleys. A full-grown T-Rex, 40 feet of muscle, bone, and survival instinct, would enter a city not like a monster, but like a natural disaster. It wouldn't roar immediately. Hollywood got that wrong. T-Rex hunted with quiet precision. It would smell everything first: oils, engines, trash, humans. Its senses were sharp enough to detect blood miles away. Cars would shake, glass would rattle, people would run without knowing why. But here's the part no movie shows. T-Rex wouldn't attack buildings or chase crowds. It would target movement. One person sprinting, one car reversing too quickly, one figure breaking the pattern. Predators follow chaos. And when it finally roared, windows would shatter, sirens would fail, the city would freeze. But the twist? T-Rex had terrible stamina. It couldn't chase for long, meaning your best chance of survival isn't hiding. It's waiting for the moment it gets tired. Because a tired apex predator makes mistakes. And in a modern world, one mistake is all we need to trap it. 300 million years ago, long before dinosaurs, long before mammals, Earth was a rainforest powered by oxygen levels almost twice as high as today. And in the shadows of those giant forests crawled something that made early humans believe hell had a shape. Arthropleura, a centipede the length of a car. Armor plates clicked together like metal. Its body undulated across the forest floor in slow, deliberate waves, antennae tracing the air like it was sensing fear itself. If you saw it today, your brain would freeze before you screamed. And yet here's the twist. Arthropleura wasn't a killer. It was an herbivore, a gentle giant that ate rotting leaves, fallen branches, and mushrooms thick as tree stumps. Predators didn't chase it because fighting something that long, that armored, and that heavy was a death wish. It moved like a tank and fed like a deer. When early humans found its fossilized trails, deep trenches carved through mud, they imagined demons dragging chains. Myths of the underworld didn't begin with stories. Before India collided with Asia, it drifted alone across the ocean, a floating continent filled with strange creatures. Titanosaur dinosaurs roamed its plains. Rajasaurus, a horned predator, stalked the forests. Giant snakes slithered beneath ferns. Fossils show unique species found nowhere else. Creatures shaped by isolation, evolving without competition from other continents. Imagine a landmass the size of Western Europe, drifting silently across warm seas, a mobile kingdom of reptiles and ancient mammals. When India crashed into Asia, it triggered the rise of the Himalayas and ended this isolated world. But every fossil dug from India's rocks tells the story of a continent that carried its own monsters across the ocean, a lost biological ark. The Black Sea was once a land of rivers, forests, and settlements. When sea levels rose at the end of the Ice Age, the Mediterranean burst through the Bosporus, flooding the region in a catastrophic event. Villages vanished, forests disappeared, creatures fled uphill, leaving behind a drowned memory. Sonar scans today reveal river valleys, ancient roads, and mountains hidden beneath waves. But here's the strange part. Remains of enormous sturgeons, giant catfish, and massive seals lie buried below, creatures far larger than their modern descendants. The Black Sea wasn't just a basin. It was a lost ecosystem, a moment in time frozen by water. Long before dinosaurs, Earth's oceans were ruled by coral empires so vast, they stretched thousands of kilometers. Reefs larger than modern Europe. These reefs were not gentle tropical sanctuaries. They were battlegrounds filled with armored fish, giant sea scorpions, and early shark ancestors. The water shimmered with life. Jawless fish, strange eel-like swimmers, and monstrous predators with crushing jaws. Imagine diving into these ancient seas, colossal coral towers rising like underwater mountains, swarms of trilobites crawling across the seafloor, and shadows drifting above, shadows shaped like torpedoes with teeth. Then came disaster. Volcanoes erupted globally, CO2 levels spiked, and oceans became acidic. The coral empire collapsed, taking most marine species with it. Today, only fragments remain, fossilized walls, ancient ridges, and ghostly traces of a world where coral ruled the seas like kingdoms. For centuries, people thought the Amazon rainforest was untouched wilderness. But beneath the trees, LiDAR scans reveal something shocking. Cities, roads, canals, terraces, an ancient civilization once thrived there. Millions of people farming, building, shaping the jungle. And they lived alongside creatures far larger and stranger than today. Giant sloths the size of elephants, armadillos as big as cars, terror birds stalking the forest edges, caiman that grew longer than vans. The Amazon wasn't just a rainforest. It was a living fortress, filled with life both beautiful and terrifying. Then everything ended. Disease, climate shifts, forest expansion. The jungle swallowed their cities whole, leaving only earthworks and shadows. Here's the twist. Some tribes today tell stories of giant ground beasts and birds with blades for faces. To most, these are myths. But when archaeologists compare the stories to fossil records, they match. Perfectly, humanity forgot the creatures it once lived beside. But the forest didn't. Deep in the forests of Asia lives a creature so small it might seem harmless, until you see what it carries. The Acanthaspis assassin bug kills insects, and then glues their dead bodies onto its back. Like a trophy cloak. Dozens of corpses stacked into a spiky mound, moving slowly across bark and leaves. Predators avoid it because they don't understand it. Prey never sees it coming. It blends perfectly into forest debris. A walking pile of legs, wings, and shells. When it strikes, it injects venom that liquefies the victim's insides, turning the body into a drink. Imagine a creature smaller than your fingernail, carrying a graveyard of victims on its back, and silently adding new ones every day. Here's the twist. Some assassin bugs use their corpse cloak to infiltrate ant colonies, hiding behind familiar scents so they can kill freely inside the nest. A serial killer wearing disguises stolen from its victims. The forest is full of predators, but none as cunning, as disturbing, or as quietly efficient as the assassin bug. Forget the small feathery raptors you see in documentaries. Utahraptor was the real nightmare. The size of a motorcycle, feathered like a prehistoric wolf, and armed with sickle claws that could slice through bone. If it returned today, national parks across Utah, Colorado, and Arizona would become silent. Elk herds would vanish, mountain lions would relocate, even bears would avoid certain valleys. Utahraptor didn't hunt alone. It hunted in coordinated family units, using pack tactics to drive prey into traps. Imagine hearing footsteps behind you on a hiking trail. Light, rapid, coordinated. But when you turn, nothing is there. Because Utahraptors didn't attack immediately. They surrounded. They waited. They punished mistakes. If they returned today, wildlife cameras would capture terrifying evidence. Shadows flanking deer, synchronized movements in tall grass, and glowing eyes watching from ridges. Humans wouldn't be prey, but we wouldn't be safe. Utahraptors would rule the canyons again, silent, strategic, unstoppable. During the Ice Age, a massive ice-free corridor stretched across North America. A path where mammoths, bison, camels, lions, and early humans traveled freely. The Yukon Corridor was a tundra highway buzzing with life. Imagine herds of mammoths shaking the ground, wolves trailing behind, giant beavers swimming in rivers, and early humans tracking game under shimmering auroras. This wasn't barren ice. It was a rich, grassy passageway that connected two continents. When glaciers melted, the corridor disappeared, flooded by lakes and forests. The animals vanished, their trails lost beneath soil and time. Yet sometimes, when permafrost melts, mammoth prints appear, so clear they look fresh. The corridor may be gone, but the road still remembers its travelers. From Norse Jörmungandr to Hindu Naga to Chinese dragons, nearly every ancient culture feared a world serpent. Coincidence? Or memory? Because deep beneath Colombian jungles lies the fossil of Titanoboa, a 42-foot serpent so heavy the ground shook when it moved. In Australia, fossils of Matsoya, another giant serpent, appear close to early human settlements. Now imagine early tribes watching a snake thicker than a tree trunk slide into a river. Imagine the sound it made when it struck. Imagine a creature so massive it looked endless, like the world wrapped itself into a loop. Here's the twist. Some indigenous paintings show snakes much larger than the biggest modern pythons. Were early humans exaggerating or describing something we no longer have? Myths don't begin with imagination. They begin with memory. Distorted, retold, but never invented from nothing. In 2014, researchers discovered a fossil so bizarre, paleontologists genuinely argued about what direction the skull faced. A marine reptile with a flat hammer-shaped mouth lined with comb-like teeth. The perfect tool for filtering algae in shallow water. Its name, Atopodontatus, meaning strange-toothed. But what shocked scientists wasn't the shape. It was the uncanny resemblance to ancient depictions of merfolk with wide, flat faces and sweeping paddle-like bodies. Not seductive sirens, but creatures adapted for shallow coasts, moving in herds, grazing the seafloor like underwater cows. Humans didn't imagine mermaids out of nowhere. They found bones strange enough to become legends. "50 million years ago, the Sahara was split by a massive inland sea, filled with giant whales, sharks, fish, and reptiles. The Trans-Saharan Seaway connected the Atlantic to the Indian Ocean through a warm tropical corridor. Imagine standing in modern-day Mali and seeing an ocean horizon, waves rolling, dolphins leaping, and early whales patrolling shallow waters. Fossils reveal shark teeth larger than human hands, whale skeletons with legs, and fish species now extinct. The desert floor hides coral reefs, ancient beaches, and shell beds stretching for miles. The Sahara wasn't born dry. It was born blue, a forgotten ocean still sleeping. beneath mountains of sand. Long before Antarctica became a frozen desert, it was one of the warmest places on Earth. A land of giant forests, humid air, and creatures that looked impossible. Imagine stepping into Antarctica 90 million years ago. Not ice, but towering conifers, ferns taller than you, and rivers crawling with life. The air was warm enough for flowers to bloom. Dinosaurs roamed in herds, leaving prints in soft mud where penguins now waddle. There were crocodiles, turtles, insects, and giant birds hunting along the coast. And deep inland, scientists found fossils of enormous amphibians, creatures that could swallow a dog whole. But here's the eerie part. Many of these species had no eyes adapted for night, which means Antarctica had no darkness. A world lit by 24-hour sunlight, a paradise without shadow. Then everything ended. The climate cooled, forests died. Ice crawled across the continent until all memory of green disappeared. We look at Antarctica today and see emptiness. But beneath the ice, frozen lakes, hidden valleys, and ancient soil still hold the DNA of that forgotten world. A reminder that the cold across Eurasia, people told stories of a giant horse with a single horn, the unicorn. But the real creature wasn't delicate or magical. It was a 3-ton rhinoceros called Elasmotherium. Short fur, massive bulk, a horn possibly over a meter long. It roamed grasslands in slow, powerful strides, leaving footprints like small craters. But here's the shocking part. Elasmotherium lived alongside early humans. Tribes painted huge one-horned creatures on cave walls. Travelers told tales of beasts with a single spike. Over time, as the creature vanished, stories polished it into myth. Power became elegance, weight became grace, and the rhino became a horse. The unicorn wasn't fiction. It was memory softened by time. After the dinosaurs vanished, South America didn't become peaceful. It became violent. The ruling predators were not mammals, but terror birds up to 10 feet tall. They sprinted faster than horses, attacked with beaks shaped like axes, and hunted mammals in packs. Imagine a plain echoing with thunderous footsteps and the sound of snapping bones as a flock of giant birds cornered prey. Their eyes were forward-facing, built for depth perception, built for killing. When mammals finally evolved large predators, terror birds still competed fiercely, holding dominance for millions of years. Only when continents collided and new predators arrived did they vanish. But their fossils show a world where birds ruled as the apex hunters, creatures as graceful as they were deadly. Orosracids, terror birds, weren't just oversized birds. They were sprinting guillotines, 3 meters tall, running speed of 65 km/h, a beak strong enough to crush skulls. If they returned today, ranchers across South America would wake up to missing livestock and strange 3-toed tracks. They didn't peck. They stabbed. They hit prey like a boxer throwing a knockout punch. And the horror? Their strategy was simple. Run straight. Hit once. Walk away. If they existed today, we wouldn't fear the sky. We'd fear the grass, the silence before a sprint, the shadow that arrives too fast to understand, and the beak that ends everything in one strike. In the dark corners of the ocean drifts a creature smaller than your thumb. Yet it possesses an ability humans have chased for thousands of years: biological immortality. The jellyfish Turritopsis dohrnii can reverse its aging. When threatened, starving, injured, or old, it collapses itself, melts into a blob, and rebuilds its body from scratch, rewinding its own biology. It becomes young again, and again, hundreds of times, Imagine a creature that refuses to die, that resets itself each time life becomes difficult. A loop of existence with no end. In perfect darkness, it floats in slow motion, its bell pulsing like a heartbeat lost underwater. Scientists believe entire colonies of these jellyfish may be thousands of years old. Immortal drifters carried by currents across oceans. Here's the eerie part. Every time they regenerate, they carry memories of past survival. They are creatures shaped entirely by the act of refusing death. It's not giant, it's not deadly, but it might outlive every living thing on Earth, including us. Imagine standing on a cliff in the Mediterranean 5.3 million years ago and hearing a roar louder than thunder. Not from the sky, from the horizon. The Atlantic Ocean had just broken through the Strait of Gibraltar, and a waterfall 1,000 times bigger than Niagara crashed into the Mediterranean basin below. Within months, what was once a desert became a sea. Water poured in at speeds faster than any river on Earth today. Canyons carved instantly, valleys drowned, animals vanished without time to flee. The event was so violent that some scientists believe you could hear it across continents. One of the largest floods in Earth's history. A single moment that reshaped the map forever. And beneath the Mediterranean today, sonar reveals dried riverbeds, ancient lake systems, and the haunting scars of a world erased by water. In the heat-shimmering plains of Africa, walks a bird that looks stitched together from nightmares, the marabou stork. Standing nearly 5 feet tall, with a wingspan over 10 feet, it moves slowly, deliberately, as if weighing every step. Its bald head and massive bill give it the silhouette of a vulture wearing a cloak. But what makes it terrifying is not its looks, it's its behavior. Marabou storks follow lions, hyenas, and crocodiles, waiting for them to finish kills. Then they march in like soldiers, stabbing into carcasses with beaks strong enough to break bone. They swallow bones, organs, flesh, anything. These birds don't fear predators. They stand beside lions, beside hyenas, beside the dead, unmoving, unblinking. And here's the unsettling part. They often gather in abandoned urban areas, nesting on rooftops like silent sentinels. At dusk, a group of marabou storks can block out sunlight as they glide overhead. Giant shadows sweeping across villages. Locals call them undertaker birds because they resemble grim reapers watching from above. Their croaking calls echo at night, deep rattling, like someone exhaling through a broken throat. They aren't predators of humans, but their presence alone feels like a warning from a world older than ours. A reminder that death always has witnesses. Ancient Greeks feared a creature with the body of a man and the head of a bull. But the real animal behind the Minotaur wasn't monstrous. It was massive. The aurochs stood nearly 7 feet at the shoulder, with horns long enough to skewer predators. When cornered, it charged with terrifying precision, its roar echoing off stone walls. Early civilizations that tried to domesticate it often failed and died in the process. A creature like that, trapped in a maze-like pen, would become a story told in whispers. The twist? Humans eventually tamed its descendants, modern cattle, meaning the Minotaur wasn't a monster. It was our first attempt at controlling something too wild to conquer.
Hold the line! Keep it steady! Oh, it's too strong!
Wait for the turn.
If it sees
Thousands of years ago, Central Africa held a lake so enormous, it could have swallowed Germany, France, and Spain combined. Lake Megachad was the largest freshwater lake Earth has ever seen. Its shores were alive with hippos, elephants, giant giraffes, ancient crocodiles, and human tribes living on its edges. Imagine waves crashing like miniature oceans, storms rolling over water that stretched beyond the horizon. Fishermen paddled across vast distances. Villages floated on reed rafts, and entire cultures formed around this super lake. Then the climate shifted, rivers dried. The lake shrank to a tiny fraction of its size, what we now call Lake Chad. Sand-swallowed villages, ancient boat remains lie in deserts today, miles from any water source. The Sahara didn't begin as desert, it began as coastline. Across North and South America, tribes spoke of a giant bird that blocked out the sun, the thunderbird, a creature whose wings could summon storms. For centuries, people assumed it was myth. But then paleontologists uncovered something astonishing in Argentina. Argentavis magnificens, a bird with a wingspan over 23 feet, larger than any flying animal alive today. It soared above prehistoric plains like a glider, riding thermal currents for hours without flapping. Imagine standing on an ancient hill and watching a shadow stretch across the ground. Silent, deliberate, controlled. No hawk flies like that. No eagle moves with that kind of grace or menace. Argentavis could snatch prey weighing dozens of pounds, lift it skyward, and drop it to kill instantly. Its bones show it was a master of the sky, a living aircraft built from feather and bone. Now imagine ancient humans witnessing this silhouette. A giant bird circling campfires, beating wings only during hunts, vanishing into clouds. To them, this wasn't an animal. It was a god, a sign, a messenger of storms. Here's the twist. Some isolated valleys in the Andes still report massive shadows gliding silently at dusk, bigger than condors, too large to explain. Scientists call them misidentifications. Locals call them something else. The old wings returning. Therizinosaurus looked like a nightmare designed by a confused god. A pot-bellied feathered giant with claws longer than swords. But it wasn't a killer. It was a herbivore. If it returned to Mongolia today, locals would report tall black shapes moving slowly across dunes, dragging claws that carved deep lines in the sand. Its silhouette alone would terrify anyone who saw it. A towering shadow with razor limbs. But the claws weren't for slicing prey. They were for pulling branches, raking foliage, and self-defense. If threatened, it could swing those claws with enough force to cut a predator in half. Imagine drones capturing footage of a peaceful giant wandering across the desert, kicking up dust. Its feathers glowing under the sun. Not a monster, a misunderstood relic from a world where size, not speed, determined survival. Therizinosaurus wouldn't destroy civilization. It would simply remind us that evolution once dreamed in bizarre shapes. If Titanoboa slithered into our world today, humanity wouldn't even realize it at first. Not because it hides well, but because rainforests are loud, alive, and full of shadows that swallow giants. Titanoboa was 42 feet long, as thick as an oil drum, strong enough to crush a crocodile in minutes. Now imagine it in the modern Amazon. Satellite images would catch river disturbances. Fishermen would report tremors below their boats. Biologists would find anacondas with pressure wounds, proof they were squeezed by something far larger. And the real fear, Titanoboa wasn't a hunter. It was an ambush. It waited, motionless for hours, sometimes days. Animals that approached water wouldn't notice the difference between a log and a monster until the splash swallowed them whole. If it returned today, jungle communities would hear stories first. Something huge took the cattle. The river is unsafe at night. Tracks wider than truck tires would appear in soft mud. But here's the unexpected twist. Titanoboa hunted only in warm climates far hotter than our Amazon today. Our world is actually too cold for it. Meaning if Titanoboa ever surfaced, there's only one explanation. Something in the climate changed before we noticed. And the jungle rarely gives warnings twice. 74,000 years ago, Indonesia exploded. Not a normal eruption. A supervolcano, powerful enough to change the planet. Ash filled the sky for years, turning sunlight into dull gray. Temperatures dropped. Forests died. Animals vanished. Humanity almost went extinct. Our population may have fallen to just a few thousand survivors. But here's the twist. Some creatures thrived. Cold-loving megafauna. Mammoths, giant elk, cave lions expanded their territories. Earth's ecosystems reset themselves. After the ash settled, grasslands spread, ice advanced, and an entirely new world emerged. One eruption reshaped evolution. And deep beneath Lake Toba today, the caldera still breathes. Quiet! Waiting. At the bottom of the ocean, where pressure crushes bone like paper, Lives a creature shaped by impossibility. The blobfish looks smooth and normal down there, but bring it to the surface, and its body collapses under its own weight. Its face droops, its skin bubbles, its form melts. People laugh at it. Call it ugly, but the blobfish is a perfect survivor. It lives where not even sharks dare to swim, where the world is silent, cold, and empty. The blobfish isn't ugly, it's adapted. We're the ones out of place. While sailors feared krakens, they had no idea something even stranger lurked beneath Antarctica. The colossal squid. Not the giant squid. Bigger, heavier, built with rotating hooks on its tentacles, eyes the size of dinner plates, and bioluminescent organs that glow softly in the deep. It doesn't lash ships or swallow sailors. It ambushes from darkness, waiting silently for prey to drift close. Only a handful have ever been found. All were enormous. None were fully grown. And deep-sea cameras still capture unexplained shadows, longer than buses, moving with the grace of drifting nightmares. The kraken isn't extinct. It just learned to hide where light can't follow.